What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to look at the Badcube Slick, their version of a masterpiece Swerve. This was sent to me by Michael Rogers, so thank you for allowing me to take a look at this figure. I never picked these up. I'm not really caring about the character that much, but I did want to see the level of quality and detail on these figures, so I appreciate being able to look at them. This is really the only real contender for a masterpiece Swerve we have right now. I would imagine more would come along potentially in the future, but right now this is the only one. Let's take a quick 360 on this guy. You do have some black paint here with some detail here on the chest. You can open up the chest here and reveal more detail down here, so that is nice. Close that back up. You have paint on the face sculpt there, metallic blue and silver. Paint on the wheels here. Not too bad on the back, relatively clean. Overall, pretty good looking. Let's put the G1 cartoon there. I don't know if this looks like the cartoon. The cartoon always looked like a toy. I mean, it was designed to look exactly like the toy. So it's a little strange because this actually looks a little bit more clean than the original cartoon, but these pieces here are kind of in the way, and there's really no way to move them out of the way. You can put them up here like that. You can put them down to the side like this. No matter how you kind of put them, they just look kind of ugly. So unfortunately, there's not much you can do. So I think the least intrusive is just to put them like this, and that still allows you to get the articulation without getting in the way. You do get one accessory with this guy, actually two accessories. One is this gun. Looks pretty nice. It's not painted, it's just a swirly plastic. You can fit that in the hand and you can hold that pretty well. That looks nice. You also get an alternate head sculpt. A little bit on the strange side, but you get the open mouth face kind of, but it's just a weird sculpt on it, but nice that they give you that. Speaking of articulation, let's go over the articulation. So the head does rotate a little bit, not much. It does go up to there, down to there, and that's really about it. Very limited on the head movement there. Like I mentioned earlier, you can move these out of the way. The arm, whoops, that's one of the issues that tends to come out. The arm is on a joint here that can go up to there and down to there. You can also bend at the ball joint there. Rotates all the way around on that ball joint as well. You get a single jointed elbow, gets a little past 90 degrees. Nothing really on the wrist. It does move up and down a little bit, but that's really it. You do have a rotation at the waist, gets you the full rotation. You have a rotation at the thigh, nicely done. Rotates up to there, messed up by its own sculpt. Stuff like that always bugs me. Like, why put that little sculpt there if it's going to get in the way? It goes all the way back though, so that's good. You have a double jointed knee, but again, due to the sculpt, you just get the 90 degrees, even though you have two joints there. You have a ankle tilt, plenty of tilt there, and ankle rocker this way, so all of the movement on those ankles that you could ever want. And he is quite expressive. And there we have Slick with some other robots for comparison. Fits in pretty nicely. It's about the same size as this X-Transbus Toro, maybe a little bit taller, but much less than some of the other mini-bots like the Fans Toys or this guy here. So it is relatively small when compared to the rest of the scale, but it fits in just fine. All right, now let's get this guy transformed into his truck mode. So relatively complex transformation for such a small robot, but Badcube is kind of known for that. So go ahead and open up these arms, fold the hands in, then close that back up. Same on this side. And this is probably the easiest step of the entire transformation. All right, and then straighten out those arms. Take these panels here, and those are just going to sit up on the side there. Take these wheels, fold those down, and those are going to sit just like that for now. And things are going to move around on us anyway, so let's not worry too much about that right now. Go ahead and open up this backpack. That's going to free up this front hood section. Flip that around. And we're not going to plug it in just yet, but just get it kind of folded all the way down, so it's going to eventually plug in the front here. But we're not going to do that just yet. Here, come to the back here. Unpeg these from the side. And we want to rotate this arm to the other side of the panel. And that'll allow us to fold it all the way down, and should end up with this straight piece facing backwards. Right? Same on this side. Open this up. Flip the arm around to the other side. And then straighten this up. And make sure you get this panel kind of right in the middle of those two. You can see there's a little groove right where that's going to fit. So get that lined up. Like that. And you can fold this downwards. And again, we're going to end up moving stuff around. You can push this in right now, but eventually it might come out. So just get that peg down there. And then these hands should be together. Right? Now we'll work on the legs. The legs are probably kind of the harder part. Actually, before we do that, let's open up this panel here, this chest panel, fold these out. And these little pegs are supposed to plug into the side of the wheels. And then these holes here are supposed to have into these tabs here. So go ahead and fold that around. And we can get this into here right now. It's just a little tricky to get it all lined up. But you should be able to get this. And make sure you have this pushed back. So it should be kind of the tab overlapping here. And I think that's the right alignment to get everything plugged in. These pegs sometimes tend to fold inwards even as you're doing it. And so that can be tricky, but try to get both sides in. We'll do this one. Right. And then once you do that, you can get this front part of the cab pegged in. And again, that might come out again, but just leave it like that for now. Now work on the legs. The legs are probably the more complex part of this transformation. Go ahead and unpeg this from here. Allow you to fold that down. Fold this whole panel over and out. And that should end up straight. Fold this foot panel inwards. Fold this. This is going to end up being the rocker panel on the side of the truck. And then tab this in, and that's going to make the side of the truck. You can kind of see how this is going to form. So fold the knee down like that, so it's accordioned inwards. And this whole panel is going to fold upwards at the hip joint, so fold that in. This panel is going to come to the back, and that's going to end up on the back of the truck. Then you have this here. This is going to fold inwards to this side of the truck. You can see this panel is going to go in that slot right there. So get that lined up in there. And we're going to get this pegged in together. And that kind of helps you land. And again, I showed you earlier, this is probably going to come out, so you'll have to do that again. But at least if you get it close, you can get it aligned properly. So same on this side, open this up, fold this leg down, fold the foot inwards. Get it tabbed in on the back here, if you haven't already. Get this panel lined up to be on the back. All right. And then accordion the knee downwards so it sits inside, and then fold that leg upwards until it meets up here. You can tab these in, but it might come out, so we are going to get those pushed inwards though. And don't close these all the way because that's going to kind of go in at the end. So same on this side, get this pushed into there. And you're going to take this tab here, and that's going to go into the back here. And that's sort of going to solidify those pieces into the side. Get these also pushed in to the side. Now you can take these doors and peg those into the back here. There you go, and then get this pegged in. Come to the front here. Now we'll refix all this. This does end up coming out. So push those pegs in. Again, you might have to fix this. Unfortunately, that tends to come out. Peg that back in. Peg this front panel back in. Just make sure you have everything squozen into place. And we'll make sure we have this panel down all the way. Straighten up these side skirts. And then the last kind of step, which kind of solidifies the back here, take this gun. You can see there's 2 tab slots there. This is going to end up making the exhaust on the back of the truck. So go ahead and plug those in. And there is Slick in his vehicle mode. Pretty good looking little vehicle. Got some nice details on it. Let's just go all the way around. We'll put the G1 cartoon over there. You've got some paint detail here on the top. You've got translucent lights with silver behind it. White paint here on the bumper and on the front grille. Here's the side. You do have those rails for the truck. You got painted silver wheels. Here's the back. You've got red and yellow lights. And the gun, of course, becomes the exhaust tip, which looks fine. Overall, pretty good looking vehicle. It is pretty small. Let's bring in some figures for comparison. So there he is next to a few other characters, a couple of mini bots and MP10. And you can see, you know, it fits exactly with Bumblebee. It's actually smaller than Bumblebee. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Just visually, it just looks a little too small. And then if you go with the newer scale, like Fans Toys, size of their mini bots, way too small. So I don't know. It's, I guess, in the eye beholder, but for me personally, it does feel a little bit small in that vehicle mode. So final thoughts on the Badcube Slick. So let's start with the positives. He is a little fun guy. I mean, he's fun to mess with and pose with the other mini bots. He does look the part. I think he looks a lot like Swerve from the cartoon. But there are some things that kind of prevent him from being enjoyable. So, for example, these bits here, that kibble, they could have figured out a way if they just put a rotation joint, you could rotate it to the back and hide that away. There's also some limited articulation on some parts, like this head. It's just hindered by its own sculpt. They could have fixed that with just a couple mils of, you know, space on each side. And then the transformation itself, as always with Badcube, isn't very fun. So that's kind of an issue across the board with Badcube, generally speaking. So I guess I do recommend him because right now he's the only version of Swerve that we've got. I doubt any company is going to take on Swerve anytime soon. So he's good enough for a mini bot, good enough for this character. He's not going to be a main character in your display, but he is a, you know, character that you want kind of in the mini bot set. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.